All right, thanks for tuning in once again. It's Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLamerican.com, here with our Rams Roundup columnist, Palmer Alexander III. And this is the Rams Recap. Palmer, this week we watched the St. Louis Rams win a game against the Arizona Cardinals, 31-17. As you know very well, I predicted the win. Mr. Palmer did not. Palmer, why did they win this game? What did they do to turn around the misfortunes that they've had recently and pull out this win and won it pretty easily?
Well, I'll be frank with you. One, I believe that they logged on to STL American, YouTube, and it was pretty much what we talked about. I mean, pretty much verbatim. Ran the ball, gave it to Steven Jackson, 24 rushing attempts, less pass attempts. How about pressure? It's amazing how effective the Rams are when they apply pressure. As I mentioned, when they apply pressure, in the last game against the Cardinals, they pressured the quarterback, 9 sacks, beat them, bloodied them. They made the adjustment at halftime. What do you get? You get 3 picks in the second half, 2 by Janoris Jenkins. Both of them was taken for touchdowns, but you get it by applying pressure. This team doesn't do well when they play in their zone defense. They get picked apart. I mean, Lindley, a rookie quarterback, he still amassed over 350 yards, but that was mainly because the Rams were sitting back. So it was a great job by the coaching staff. They made a great job of adjustments, and that's why they won. It's just that simple. Add pressure, run the ball.
Exactly, and when you talk about running the ball, we said that's what they needed to do. They needed to feed Steven Jackson. The last game against the Jets, he ran well, but he didn't give many opportunities.
Right.
This game, they gave him the ball 24 times, got 139 yards rushing the ball. So he really paced the offense, and especially once they got the lead, he punished the defense to where at the end of the game, you could see the defense was getting tired, and they didn't want no part of Steven Jackson.
Absolutely, and that's I think that's the fun part that offensive linemen have when you have a lead and you just keep running and just keep eating up the clock, and that's what you're supposed to do when you have that type of running back. And then you get Derrick Richardson comes in, and then you get him the change of pace, and now he's hitting you and whacking you. I think the Rams had 32, 33 rushing attempts, way more rushing attempts than passing attempts, and that's the key to success for the Rams being successful, is just being consistent and staying within yourself. And shouts out to Brian Schottenheimer. He didn't get pass happy, which I thought he was going to do like he did in the first game. He stuck with the run, and You look at what the Rams did. The Rams were able to control the clock. They was able to hold on to the ball, and it made it easier for the Rams to be able to control the second half of the game, and they didn't have to worry about playing so much catch-up football because they was in control of the ball for once.
Right, and the interesting thing when you talk about Schottenheimer changing up, rushing the ball more early on in the game. Bradford looked a little shaky. After he had that interception, it almost seemed like, man, this is about to go south.
Yeah.
He really started off kind of shaky. But after that, he picked it up, and he was able to get completion. He wasn't missing the open receivers like he did before.
Right.
He got 2 touchdown passes, one to Chris Givens. Chris Givens is he's doing his thing, stretching the field. They brought him in as that speed, that outside guy that Donnie Avery was supposed to be, and he's getting it done.
Boy, you trying to get a cussing reaction out of me, but you know what? Sam, like you say, Sam didn't look too great in the first half, and that first series, when it's 3rd and 5, Brandon Gibson. It's not often Brandon Gibson's going to get past somebody, but he just overthrows them by about 10 yards, and the Rams did a good job of picking up the blitz. Great throw to Lance Kendricks on that touchdown, and even a better throw to Chris Givens as it showed some touch. And that was the one thing that we was like, man, I don't know if he has a touch. I was questioning he has a touch. the thing we question, I think, with Sam is consistency. Can he be consistent and make those throws on a week-to-week basis? But again, he made the throws he needed to make today. And again, Chris Givens, I mean, just a huge day. I mean, when you have that type of weapon, Danny Amendola was pretty much a decoy. Right. You wonder how hurt is he? Because he got to be hurting pretty bad because he didn't even get the ball. In the game. But nevertheless, Chris Givens is stepping up, and he's turned to a reliable target for Sam Bradford, and they just got to keep it moving, man.
Yeah, and, I think Amendola, he did have the one catch.
The 38-yard catch.
Yeah, I think it was called back due to penalty, which, is an issue the Rams are still struggling with and dealing with. But how much of this win goes to the coaching staff for changing up the strategy, and how much is you got a rookie quarterback, Ryan Lindsay, his first start threw 4 picks. He did throw for 312 yards on 52 attempts, 31 completions. How much of that is due to, you going against a rookie versus, we're learning, we're doing better, we're making adjustments?
I think I would have to totally credit to the coaching staff. For once, sticking with something that has brought them some success, even though it may have been minor. But like I say, just look what they did to Russell Wilson. Look what they did to Robert Griffin. They didn't do it enough to Kaepernick in the first game. You saw what happened. When they apply pressure, those young quarterbacks, they have trouble with it, and they panic. I mean, even when the game against Detroit, they picked Stafford off 3 times. They didn't apply enough pressure to Jay Cutler. They didn't apply enough pressure to Mark Sanchez. So when they make that adjustment, and then I talked last week about them having the 4 guys all spread out, they start bringing extra guys up into those holes. And also when they went with those 3-man fronts, they was bringing guys up in those gaps. And what causes turnovers too, Ishmael, is that when you start blitzing more often and you start putting extra linebackers or whoever up inside those gaps, and you decide to have guys bail out, the quarterback is going to freak out more times than not, because they trying to make the quickest read as possible, and that's what caused that pick 6 by Janoris Jenkins. Again, the Rams showed some pressure, but they didn't bring it. They had guys bailing out, and all he did was jump the route. So that was indicative on the coaching staff to make that adjustment, and you have to give it to the coaching staff because they the ones that made that call on the defensive side of the ball, bringing more pressure, and on the offensive ball, again, like we just said, running the football.
Now, you mentioned Janoris Jenkins. Of course, he's been another guy, like a rookie. He's been up and down a little bit. He's played great sometimes. He's been a little suspect, got burned sometimes. How big do you think a game like this, where you got 2 interceptions returned to the end zone, how big is that going to be for his confidence, and how much of a boost is that going to give him going forward? I
think it's going to bring him forward even more. The week before, Sanchez tried to pick on him. He didn't let it happen, and you saw him playing back to where he was, starting back in the preseason all the way up, up until now. And so 2 picks, and now two pick sixes, and he got to get the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He has to be a candidate for that award. But this is only going to make his confidence grow.
Once again, we come to the part where we pick players of the game. I think some of these are going to be obvious, but offensively, on the offensive side of the ball, who do you think earns it?
Well, I'm going to give it to, I gave it to Steven last week. I'm going to give it to Chris Givens. Chris Givens showed up big on the road, 5 catches, 115 yards, averaging over 20 yards a catch. There are no other rookies that's doing that. He's solid on kick returns, and again, he gives the Rams the element over the top, and he's turned to a hell of a football player.
All righty. This one, I'm sure, is going to come as no surprise. On the defensive side, Craig Dahl, right? You got to pick. You got to give it to him. This is Craig Dahl.
When he got that interception, there was a hush. Everybody, it was just a hush. And because it was like he caught it, it was like, I bet he fumbles. So, Craig Dahl had his interception. But I know it'd be obvious for me to give to Janoris Jenkins, but I tell you what, that Joe Dunbar, what a tough SOB. He's the guy you do not want to see when you go into alley. Now, I am a little scared of Miss Lois up here, but I'm a little bit more scared of Jolon Dunbar. But really though, you gotta give it to Janoris, man. I mean, come on, man. You get 14 points on defense. You see his confidence brewing, and hey, you got to tip your cap to the young man. He came to play.
All right, you worried me on that one because I really thought.
Well, because I said Miss Lois?
Well, no. Because you said Dunbar, which I'm a fan of Dunbar. He's definitely a great addition to the defense. But when you don't give it to a guy that has 2 touchdown interception returns, that's crazy. That brought back memories of Lance Kendricks. But, so since you did pick, Jenkins, for me, my intangibles player of the week is gonna be Craig Dahl. I gotta give him some love. He got the interception, which he's dropped several this year.
Well, he dropped
season.
8.
He also made a couple of big hits and some good plays in the game. So
I didn't see him.
Just to annoy you, just to make you mad, I'm picking Craig Dahl, the intangibles player of the week. All right, so going on into next week. We got the San Francisco 49ers coming into town. This is just a few weeks removed from the infamous tie game that we had. Mm-hmm. How do you think the Rams are going to fare? They're at home this time. Are they going to be able to upset the San Francisco 49ers?
They'll beat them if they stick with the game plan. If they stick with the game plan that they had against the Cardinals, they'll be able to win. I mean, Colin Kaepernick, I'm not going to say I'm sorry. You know how people say I'm sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. Colin Kaepernick is not a good quarterback, okay? I mean, he's, I was not impressed with him when he was at Nevada, not impressed with him with the 49ers, and if the Rams decide to stick with the game plan, make his life a living hell, they'll be able to win the game. You're not going to tell me that Kaepernick is better than RG3 or Russell Wilson. No way, no how. You put pressure on him. You make him miserable, and the Rams can be able to be successful if they stick to it. If they don't do it, they're going to lose.
I don't know. I mean, I think he is showing himself to be a good quarterback. I don't think there's a question whether he's a good quarterback. Now, whether or not he's going to become an elite quarterback or a great quarterback, or whether they should have made that change, I think is in question. I think he's a solid quarterback, and he can definitely make plays with his feet like an RG3, like a Russell Wilson. He may not be as fast or athletic, but I think he has, he has an uncanny ability just to move around in the pocket to make plays with his feet, as well as he's a decent passer. So I think he's going to be a good fit for them. I think the question in this game is going to be, how does the Rams defense handle the rushing attack of the 49ers? They did really well in that tie game, but like against the Cardinals this past week, Beanie Wells, he didn't have a lot of yards. He had 47 yards, I think, right, around there, but he got in the end zone twice, 2 touchdowns. So we got Frank Gore and that backfield by committee that they have. You think that they may be able to run the ball pretty good. Well,
I think what the Rams are going to do, I think what helped them in that Cardinal game is that when they again had additional guys up in that box, when you can bring guys down, and the 49ers don't have the greatest passing attack. With Kaepernick, they're not going to take a lot of shots downfield, if any at all. So that plays to the Rams, and that gives the Rams a little bit of an advantage. They could take more chances. And so I expect them to crowd that box area. And, I expect guys to be disciplined. If guys are disciplined and stay in their lanes, they'll be able to hold the 49ers run attack, in place. They'll be able to do that if they stay with the game plan. And that means bring pressure, having extra guys up in that box, and having guys being disciplined, stay in the lanes. Larry Niners had a better game against the Cardinals. He stayed in his lane. He wasn't going all over the place. He wasn't playing peekaboo and guess which hole to go through. Rocky McIntosh had a strong game. Jolon Dunbar, we talked about him. So these guys right now that they have the personnel to stop them or slow them down nonetheless. But they want to make sure they keep them in 36 and 37 37. Put him in long pass situations and let them bring the heat.
All right, one last thing I want to get your opinion on before we make our official picks for this week's game. The rookie kicker, Greg Zuerlein, he started off, excellent, making a lot of kicks. And now he's kind of gotten inconsistent. He's looking more like a rookie kicker. He missed, pretty chip shot this past week, and that's been the case off and on for the past several weeks. How does he get out of this funk? And are you concerned about it, or do you think, hey, it's just part of that rookie growing process?
It's just part of the rookie growing process. I'm not concerned about it. I mean, the young man, he can be able to kick. I think he got into a little bit of a rut, and I think that again, the coaching staff putting too much pressure on him. I mean, the 66-yard kick in Miami. I mean, the boneheaded, delay a game in San Francisco, and he had to kick a 58-yarder. So his teammates and his coaching staff are not helping him out. I think the Rams, if they be more consistent in the red zone and stop depending on him to make kicks, it'll make it a little easier on him. But you're not concerned about it. I mean, the kid has a great future in this league.
Yeah, I agree. And there were some people that I saw on Facebook or Twitter that were, kind of calling him out on it. Give him a break. He is a rookie, but then again, you can't miss those chip shots. And hopefully it's something that he's able to learn from soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Josh Brown, the inside man. He's not the inside man, Josh Brown. He's not Neil O'Donoghue, who used to butcher kicks, for the old Big Red. So we've seen some dogs come through. He has a future, man. He does.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need to just settle on a nickname. I think maybe it's the nickname hype, whether he's going to be Legatron or Young Jeezy.
Legatron? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, they started calling him Legatron. They started calling him Young Jeezy. And they started calling him Greg the Leg, of course. So, for the past several weeks, there's been this fight in between Rams fans on what to nickname him. Pick a nickname, or you know what? He's a rookie, so he should be Greg Zuerlein.
Yeah, Greg, exactly.
I got caught up in it. I like the Young Jeezy, but from now on, you're Greg Zuerlein. You're a rookie. Next season, you can earn a nickname.
Absolutely. Hey, like I say, he replaced the inside man, so I'm glad he's here.
All right, so now it's time for the official picks. I know you said if the Rams do this, they can win. If they don't, they can lose.
Boy, that wasn't definitive. It wasn't. It just kind of left it right there in the middle.
We don't let you walk in there. You got to pick. You got to put it on the line.
Well, I'm going to go out on faith, and it may be the last time I do this. But the Rams are going to stick with the same game plan that made them successful. Ironically, they're 3-0 in the division. They haven't lost a game. They're going to win this Sunday against San Francisco.
Well, they're 3-0-1 in the division.
You always got to bring up that.
About facts. It's all about the facts, man. I'm going to disagree with you as much as I love the Rams at home. And I do think that they will stick to that strategy. They will run the ball more, but I think San Francisco was a little surprised by how well the Rams played in San Francisco. So I think that defense will be ready. And even though the Rams should run the ball more and they should have more success, I think the 49ers are too tough, and I think they're going to probably pull away a victory. I think it'll be a tough-fought game. The Rams aren't going to roll over at home. But I think the 49ers will win maybe by 3 or 7 points.
Well, I guess we'll see. I think like last year, the Rams played them tough at home. They only lost by a touchdown. And that's with less talent. And I just think that I just feel like if the Rams can force some turnovers and get some sacks and, like I say, harass Kaepernick, I like their chances. I really do, especially if they get those stops. Like I said, if they have those extra guys in that box and they stopping that run, making them throw, I think the Rams' chances are pretty good.
All right. Well, what do you think? Let us know. You can check us out on YouTube. You can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, the whole 9. We're going to start trying to have the videos up every Tuesday from now on going forward for the rest of the season. So be sure to check out the videos, YouTube/STL American Video. Palm Alexander, if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
You can check me out, Talk Sports, on Facebook, and you can also watch us every week. Right on YouTube.
All right, so thanks for tuning in once again. Again, subscribe to the channel or leave us comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about. I'm Ishmael Sistrunk with the St. Louis American and STLAmerican.com. We're Palm Alexander. We're checking out. We'll see you next week.